Hello, hello, hello. Yes, we are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that sounds good. Why is it distorted? 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, hello. Hello. Check 1, 2. Sounds a bit soft. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's one else. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2. And that one there. And is that working? I think it is, yep. Boogie. Good evening, this is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, VK3 EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast, coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. A very pleasant good evening this Friday, the 16th of August, and just watching the Essendon game and how that's turned into a bit of a flop. Anyway, good evening everyone, and thank you for tuning in and watching in. We are broadcasting on the prime frequency of 3541 kilohertz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, and simulcasting on the Melbourne television repeater, VK3 RTV, digital channel number 1, which I can see on the screen up there, and also streaming on the YouTube channel. Just type in VK3CSJ in the YouTube search engine and look for the live indicator. We're also streaming on the Discord medium as well in full HT. So if you listen to the broadcast here on 80 metres and you're tuning into the YouTube stream, audio will be delayed by some 20 seconds, whereas with Discord it'll be practically less than a second delay. So the Discord is most likely the better medium, but you have to register for Discord. It's not a problem. We also have an email address if you wish to send signal reports and the like. VK3EKH@gmail.com, VK3EKH@gmail.com. Right. And what's the other one? Oh yeah, and of course the chat room on Discord as well, which I'm viewing. So I think we'll get straight into it tonight. We've got a solar report from Tamitha. It goes for about 12 minutes. It's about 15 hours ago she put that up on the internet. So we've got a solar report from our space weather woman. And I just hope we don't have any issues with the internet tonight. I almost didn't come up tonight because of internet problems. Everything was super slow. But I think I got that sussed out. But it also means that I'm using my VDSL cable tonight. So I'm running the transmitter here at low power on 80 metres. So I hope the signal on 80 metres is reasonably copyable. Anyway, a pleasant good evening to everybody, and let's see how we can go with things tonight. All right, now it's yes, okay. So, as you know, the broadcast here is on behalf of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. We've been broadcasting here on this frequency since 1988, and we'll continue on for a little bit longer with this thing that we do. The ASV is a non-profit society for people interested in astronomy, attracting and catering for people from a wide range of ages and backgrounds, abilities and interests. First formed in 1922, the society has grown to over 1,000 members, in fact over 1,600 I believe. Its activities are coordinated by a council of elected office bearers, section directors and ordinary councillors. The ASV has weekly activities at our two metropolitan locations, the Morley Community Village and the Melbourne Observatory, and we host monthly astro talks at the Herbarium near the Melbourne Observatory. The Society's library is also located at the Melbourne Observatory and is open during our astro talks, and for over 50 years the ASV has played a major role in the care of buildings and facilities at the Melbourne Observatory. Our members conduct Astronomy for the People gatherings throughout the year, bringing telescopes and astronomy to Melbourne's parks and schools. Please check the calendar for details if you are interested in attending one of these events. The ASV is currently involved in a number of major projects. We are involved in the restoration of the Great Melbourne Telescope, and are also currently working on the installation of a series of remote telescopes at our dark sky site, which once complete will be accessible to our members for use. Thanks to the generous donation from one of its most long-standing and respected members, the Leon Mao dark sky site located north of Melbourne has pristine night sky for deep sky observing. The ASV has a 25-inch telescope and a 40-inch telescope and a wheelchair accessible 16-inch telescope at the Leon Mao Dark Sky site, and makes use of the existing telescopes at the Melbourne Observatory during some section meetings and our members' nights held once a month at the observatory. An annual yearbook is supplied to members as well as a bi-monthly newsletter, Crux, which all members are welcome to contribute to. The ASV's logo shows the Southern Cross and the Pointer Stars, as its motto is something in Latin, which I can't pronounce, which is translated to "This way to the stars." The ASV is governed by a set of rules which should be read before applying for membership. The document may be downloaded by clicking here. Any person or organisation with an interest in astronomy may apply for membership of the Society. So it's just something a little bit different to the normal blurb that I read out. Righto. So, yes, the ASV's website is located at www.asv.org.au. That's www.asv.org.au for more information about the Society. Just a quick look at emails. We have an email from Andrew, VK3KIS. He says listening on 80 metres sounds great. Thank you, Andrew. It's good to have that confirmation. We also have an email from Stephen. Oh, VK3SBX. He says 80 metre signal is 509 plus 20, all media working. Excellent. He says, I can't stay back for the call back tonight. Bendigo. Oh, yes, of course. That's on Sunday, though. All right. Anyway, all right, no problem. Okay, now let's just a quick look at my chat window. We've got VK3XL and VK3SBX watching the HD stream on Discord, and the chat room currently has again 3XL, 3GL. Oh, 3GL is there now. VK3GL, as you know, chaps, Graham usually calls in at the top of the list at the end of the callback, and he's from Bunyip. Well, Graham tonight is actually calling in from Osaka in Japan. So very pleasant good evening to you there, Graham. I wonder how the signal is on 80 metres. It's raining here in Melbourne at the moment, I can tell you that much. As it probably is raining over there with that typhoon coming down on you. All right, Mike says getting some audio dropouts from time to time on the video feed. Good signal, Clint, picking up right now. I see. Okay, cool. Okay, so there's a few people there on the chat room. The audio dropouts, is that where's that, on Discord or elsewhere, I wonder? All right, going back to vMix. Yeah, everything's good here. The streams are looking good, so hopefully things should be okay. Now, first thing for tonight to bring up. Oh yes, now I usually plug this. I have been plugging this newsletter now, or the new magazine from ASV for the last few weeks. Southern Astronomer. It's a subscription type magazine. It's called The Southern Astronomer, is the Southern Hemisphere's most comprehensive online magazine for the latest news in science, astronomy, astrophotography and space exploration. Just go visit the website at www.southernastronomer.com, www.southernastronomer.com for more information on this new addition to the literature stream. Good on you, ASV, for getting that done. All right, you're tuned to VK3 EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. Now, in the news of late, of course, is the problem with the astronauts that are currently stuck on the International Space Station due to a capsule that's got a bit of a problem. At this point in time, there is no return date yet for the Starliner's astronauts on the International Space Station. NASA and Boeing continue evaluating Starliner for its return to Earth and considering reserving seats for Wilmore and Williams on the upcoming Crew 9 mission. As an update, during a media call this afternoon, NASA's officials announced that as of yet there are no major updates for timing of Wilmore and Williams' return, the two astronauts, or the vehicle that may bring them back to Earth. However, they confirmed that the agency's primary concern remains the Starliner's propulsion system, namely the craft's thrusters and the signatures received from them on orbit. Before deciding whether to bring the astronauts back on the Starliner, the team needs to ensure that the propulsion system will work as it should during the necessary deorbit burn. This is made more challenging by the fact that the parts in question cannot be observed by or checked during a spacewalk. So engineers on the ground must rely on data transmitted by the system rather than any visual inspection. Although officials said there is no sharp cutoff for making the decision on how to bring the astronauts home, the teams are aiming to make a call before the last week in August, as juggling factors such as supplies and available ports on the space station becomes more difficult. For now, the experienced Williams and Wilmore remain integral and valuable members of the station crew, taking part in maintenance, research and other tasks. NASA astronauts Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams have had a bit of a prolonged trip to space since their blast off on June 5 aboard the Boeing Starliner from Florida's Space Coast. The astronauts have been staying on the International Space Station alongside the Expedition 71 crew after issues arose with the craft. Before William and Williams arrived at the International Space Station, the Starliner craft saw 5 of its small thrusters fail and a helium leak. The issues postponed indefinitely the astronauts' return to Earth, originally planned for 1 week after the launch. Oh, and there was a couple of images here too I was going to show. I completely forgot I had these images here. This is the image of the actual capsule in question that's got the issues. They can't come back to Earth in that until they resolve the problems. And there's a couple of images of the 2 astronauts in question, Williams and Wilmore. So I suspect that the one in the back there is Barry, and the one nearest the camera is Sunny, S-U-N-I, Sunny Williams. So there they are. Well, nothing wrong with an extended stay on the International Space Station, I would imagine. Anyway, there it is. All right, next article. It's 10:17 right now. Just trying to find my camera. And there I am again. And I wonder if Sam is watching tonight too. I've got potentially a new viewer tonight, one of the fellows from work who's been on me to give him information about how to view the Friday night broadcast. I finally got around to sending the necessary information and links today. So if you're listening, Sam, certainly send us a message there via email, vk3ekh@gmail.com when you've got time, if you're watching. Oh, it looks like that Sydney team won. Oh, damn. Oh well, never mind. Okay. Next article for tonight. Oh yes, this is a quickie. How does spectroscopy work? I've got to be careful about that one because I can easily trip over that word, spectroscopy. I mean, I'm sure spectroscopy works, but people often just say spectroscopy. Anyway, so how does it work? By cataloguing the pattern of light an astrophysical object emits, and this is something I'm looking forward to doing when I finally get my observatory running too. I'm really looking forward to being able to look at the spectrum of a star. I think that's so fascinating. By cataloguing the pattern of light an astrophysical object emits, astronomers can dissect the elements it contains. Isn't that fascinating? I think it is. So, how do scientists know what spectral lines belong to which compound? Someone asks in Poland. And there is a graphic here for this. So it's the only graphic, so I'll bring that up before I start the text. Where is it? It is there somewhere. I try to do this carefully, but I just always forget to bring images across. All right, look, this will just take a second. It is there. Yeah, there it is. Good grief. There we go. Okay, have a gawk at this. All right, back to the article. Each atom and molecule has its own fingerprint that, like yours, is unique. But unlike yours, this fingerprint is made of light. Elements and compounds emit identifying sets of colours or wavelengths of light. Colours is in quotes here because the light is not always visible, extending to infrared and radio bands on one side and ultraviolet and gamma rays on the other. No two colour combinations are the same, allowing astronomers to accuse specific chemicals of being in stars, gas clouds, or planetary atmospheres. But how did astronomers get these chemical fingerprints in the first place, you might ask? Just like in a crime drama, they brought the atoms downtown to the station, and by station I mean laboratory. Chemists put the atoms through all kinds of trials where they vary the temperature, collect the light and results, and previously determine the different wavelengths that make up that light. So once the fingerprints are in the system, astronomers can go look for matching sets in space. It may sound simple, but consider this. Few things in the universe are made of one pure substance. Astrochemists, as those who work in this field have to separate the signature of hydrogen from the signature of helium, from the signature of methylanium, which is like trying to determine what a person's fingerprint looks like when 10 other suspects' prints are on top of it. Oh, there you go. It's a very quick article, that one. But yes, there it is on the screen there. The fingerprints for helium-oxygen mix, and oxygen. And if you know how to split the light of the stars up into a spectrum, yes, you can do some interesting things. So I thought that was an interesting one to break up the medium with. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria at 10:23. Next article. Scientists just found oceans of liquid water on Mars. But there is a catch. And there's a little graphic for this one. I'll bring up this graphic so you don't have to be looking at me all the time. There we are. Okay. According to this article, published 13th of August, space.com. Oh, actually, it's sciencealert.com. There are literal oceans worth of liquid water hiding out on Mars. There's just one big problem. The water is actually in Mars at depths that are too far below the surface for us to access. That's according to a new analysis of seismic data collected by the Mars InSight lander, for which huge reservoirs of liquid water are the best explanation. And although that water is out of reach, it is an important piece of strange puzzle of the aquatic history of our dry, desiccated, dusty neighbour. Understanding the Martian water cycle is critical for understanding the evolution of the climate, surface and interior, says geophysicist Yasan Wright of the University of California in San Diego's Scripps Institution of Oceanography. A useful starting point is to identify where water is and how much there is. As rovers scurry about on the surface of Mars, collecting data on its surface geology, it has become more and more evident that the red planet was once loaded with water. Minerals, terrain, and features such as ancient dry lake beds and deltas suggest that Mars was once pretty soggy. There's water on and just below the surface of Mars today, but only in the form of ice, and in quantities nowhere near enough to account for the Martians' wetness of eons past. In order to better understand the water history of Mars, knowing where the water went is crucial to understanding how much of it there could have been billions of years ago. There are two places the water could have gone: up into space as it evaporated into a gas, or down towards the Martian interior, sequestered either as ice deposits or liquid reservoirs. We have no way of measuring how much water leaked away into the liquid black yonder, but we know into the wild black yonder, but we now have the data needed to probe the gooey center of Mars. And that's thanks to the Mars Insight lander. It's no longer operational, but between November 2018 and December 2022, it squatted turtle-like on the surface of Mars, monitoring the hums and rumbles of activity below. Acoustic waves generated by seismic activity inside the planet change according to the density and composition of the material they are moving through. Scientists analysing the data can make inferences about what that material might be based on the behaviour of the seismic waves. The researchers used a geophysical model identified to one used to map underground aquifers and oil fields here on Earth, and employed it to analyse data collected by InSight on Mars. They found that the data are best explained if deep below the surface of Mars there lies a layer of fractured igneous rock, such as granite, whose cracks are filled with liquid water. And there's another graphic here that I'll bring up to change the picture. In this graphic on the screen as I speak is a diagram illustrating the water-filled layer detected by the InSight lander. So that layer sits at depths between 11.5 and 20 kilometers. So it's probably not going to be accessible to humans when we eventually pop over to Mars for an afternoon tea and a cupcake. But it's tantalizing nevertheless. Not only does it give us a new tool for understanding the Martian water cycle, it suggests that Mars retained a lot of its water, with implications for Mars' potentially habitability past and present. Establishing that there is a big reservoir of liquid water provides some window into what the climate was like, or could be like, and water is necessary for life as we know it. The author says, I don't see why the underground reservoir is not a habitable environment. It's certainly true on Earth. Deep, deep mines host life, and the bottom of the ocean hosts life. We haven't found any evidence for life on Mars, but at least we have identified a place that should, in principle, be able to sustain life. Mars continues to be coy about its water reserves. Previous detections identified and then raised serious questions about water reservoirs lurking below the Martian surface. And InSight data has shown that there's not likely to be much water ice in the upper crust around the lander's location. But if the water-rich layer now detected deeper below the surface were consistent around the entire globe of Mars, there would be enough water to fill ancient oceans, and then some, the researchers found. Finally, of course, the findings are not conclusive. To learn more about what Mars is keeping hidden beneath its dusty surface, we'll need further and better observations and analysis of Mars's crust. Maybe it's time to consider a new seismometer. Just a thought. Interesting. All right, bring up the camera again. Camera, please, director. Good evening. All right, next we have, what time is it? 10:30. Gee, it's only 10:30. Goodness me. Let me just check my email. We have an email from Bill, a report on ATV. He says ATV and 3541 are both good signals up Upper Plenty, Victoria. Mr. KHT. Thanks, Bill. Nothing else there. And on our chat window, we have a wave. Somebody is waving. It's Mohammed VK3AEV. That's a new one. G'day, sir. And Kim, VK5FUSE. And I think that's about it at the moment. If you're still listening, Graham, up there at Osaka, Japan, I guess I wonder how the video is on Discord, because you're obviously seeing the picture up there, so I'd be interested to see how well that's coming across up there. Has it got any Japanese subtitles? Sorry. Okay, next article. Righto. What is a light echo? What is a light echo? This phenomenon causes objects to expand faster than the speed of light, but it's a trick of cosmic geometry. And there's an image associated with this article, so I'll just bring that up. There it is. Alrighty then. In Hubble pictures taken just months apart of V838 Monocerotis, I think that's how you pronounce that, Monocerotis, the dust ring around this star grows by several light years during that time, called a light echo. How can something grow by 5 light years in 5 months, you might ask? Well, congratulations on noticing an effect called superluminal expansion. Superluminal expansion, a phenomenon we see in a light echo. The echo appears to us to expand at many times the speed of light, seemingly, violently, and fundamentally speed limited in the universe. Violating, that was the word, seemingly violating the fundamental speed limit in the universe. That's how that's meant to be read. A light echo occurs when a star experiences an eruption or an object explodes in a region surrounded by interstellar dust. Light from the eruption travels straight to Earth, so that is what we see first. But the light also travels to the side, reflects off dust, and then heads towards us. Because of the extra distance travelled, the reflected light arrives at Earth later on, like the voice of yodeler echoing off the mountains around them. A yodeler. Consider the Hubble image of light echo of erupting star V838, which is on the screen right now. It's a real image. Monocerotis, taken on October 2002. About 230 days after the light of the explosion peaked in March that year, yet the light echo at that time appears to have a radius of about 3 light years. How could the light from the explosion travel 3 light years in less than 1 year, you might ask? Stop saying that, Clint. Okay, I will. Here's another graphic for this article. So this is a simplified representation of V838 Monocerotis. From above, or from this diagram, it illustrates how the light from the explosion, which originated at the star, is reflected back to Earth along a parabolical surface paraboreal surface. So, while some newly illuminated dust appears several light years to the side of the star in our 2D view of the sky, we are actually getting light from regions in front of the star in 3 dimensions. Essentially, it's as if we're viewing the star from down a tunnel rather than at the center of an expanding circle. I don't know if we can really make that out in that diagram, but okay. So, to finish off, the answer lies in the geometry of the light echo, or of a light echo. Illustrated in the diagram here, we see V838 Mon at the center, surrounded by a shell of interstellar dust expanding out to a radius of about 6 or 7 light years. At any moment in time, the light echo lies on a paraboreal surface. This surface marks the location in space where the extra travel time for light to bounce off dust and reach Earth is 230 days. The illuminated dust that appears to be 3 light years to the side of V838 Mon is actually almost 6 light years in front of the star. So it's almost as if we are staring into a long tunnel in the dust, with the star nearly at the back end of the tunnel. The speed of light has not been violated, of course. As time passes, the paraboloid opens up and propagates into the background. Thus, each Hubble observation that you see in the previous image, and I'll go back to it. There we are. So yes, so as time passes, the paraboloid opens up and propagates into the background. Thus, each Hubble observation sampled a different region in the surrounding dust as the illumination swept through it. It's an astrophysical CAT scan, is another way of putting it. Well, yeah, a light echo. You'd have to read that article again to kind of appreciate that, I think. That's courtesy of astronomy.com. So if you went to astronomy.com and clicked under Ask Astro, you'll find that article. Alright, here's a bit of a plug for astrophiz.com. Where's my picture? Brendan O'Brien has been at it again. He's found another interesting astrophysicist, a Dr. Tessa Vanstrom, and she's talking about the evolutionary map of the universe. Let me see. In summary, you will hear how Tessa is using the world's most powerful and sensitive instruments to unlock the secrets of the faintest and furthest objects and the most mysterious phenomena in our known universe. And she has chosen to work on the most difficult research areas possible. Is there anything else there I can mention? Tessa is the project scientist for the evolutionary map of the universe, aka EMU survey, using the ASCAP telescope. She is also the co-chair of the SKA Magnetism Science Working Group, as well as a lead in the POSSUM survey of the polarized radio sky. So this is the latest Astrophiz podcast. It's episode 198. Episode 198. Dr. Tessa Vanstrom, and she's talking about the evolutionary map of the universe. So go across to astrophiz.com and listen to Brendan O'Brien having a chat with Dr. Tessa. At some stage in the future, I will probably grab a hold of that file and bring it across for a Friday night for you guys to listen to as well at some point in the future. Also, a bit of a plug for the observatory up in the hills here. If I can just find the damn website. There it is. Okay. Mount Burnett Observatory is open right now as we speak. Every Friday night they meet. And if the sky is clear, they will have the dome open and the secondary dome open, and they'll have big discussions and big views of the sky. But I'm afraid of the night tonight, they'll be all huddled in the log cabin up there, and there'll be probably somebody giving a talk, keeping them all entertained. But Mount Burnett Observatory used to be an observatory at Monash University. So as it is right now, though, Mount Burnett Observatory is a non-for-profit astronomical society, which was founded in 2011. The Mount Burnett Observatory, which is the main focus of our activities in the Dandenong Ranges, east of Melbourne, and like I say, it used to be a pretty key observatory up there for Monash University. Mount Burnett Observatory, MBO. Go out and check it. Check the website out first, and see how you go. Next on the scheme of things, I think it's time for our Space with a Woman. So let me just bring up the caption for our Space with a Woman, which is just there. All right, and I'll now queue up the video. Where is she? I need a bigger screen. All right, okay. This goes for 12 minutes. And I'm hoping that the audio should come out on all channels. So I'm going to have to monitor my audio on 80 meters because it might start being a little bit too loud, but we'll check that in a second. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel. Here is Timothy Scove, our Space with a Woman, with the latest in solar weather.
We have an Earth-directed solar storm on its way, and big flare risk remains high because we have some new regions rotating into Earth view. Those stories and more are in this week's Spotlight. If you want to learn how weather from our star causes impacts at the Earth that shape the future of our world, join Professors Dr. Jenny Meehan, Michael Cook, and myself as we guide you through a space weather certificate program like no other. To enroll in the Space Weather and Environment Science program offered at Millersville University, go to millersville.edu/SWEN. It's weather for the 21st century. This forecast also sponsored in part by CW Ops. Space weather over the past couple weeks has been pretty busy, and this week is no exception. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, we're finally saying goodbye to region 3777, which was part of why we had that big G4 level solar storm back on the 12th. But we also been paying attention to region 3780. This region has also been firing a few big solar flares, but not any real Earth-directed solar storms, at least not of yet. We have been watching a bit of activity moving off to the southwest, but nothing that's Earth-directed. Meanwhile, we've been paying close attention to this region. This is a big coronal hole that's going to be rotating in through the Earth strike zone over the next couple days. It's going to send us a pocket of fast solar wind, but it's not expected to be all that strong. Could possibly give us a little bit of a roar at high latitudes, but we're really not expecting all that much. Really, the big story is region 3784. Over the past 24 hours or so, this region has actually gotten very active. It's popped a few big solar flares, and then early on the 14th, pow, right there it fires off a big X-class flare. This was an X 1.1 class flare with an R3 level radio blackout. You can see it all over Asia here. On top of that, it also launched an Earth-directed solar storm. You can see that right here in this halo. You see this very slight signature here to the northeast. That is an Earth-directed solar storm. This junk here off to the side is actually a solar storm that's going west of Earth. So this is kind of sandwiched in a bunch of other junk. But this solar storm is definitely Earth-directed. Now, as we take a look at that, we might think that this thing is going to go northeast of Earth, but because of this coronal hole above it and the fast solar wind up here, that could actually deflect that solar storm back down into the Earth-Sun line. So it might actually be a bigger hit than what the models are going to say, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. Meanwhile, as we move to the east limb, take a look at this region. Pow, right there. Did you see that? That was an M5.5 class flare from a region that hasn't even fully rotated into Earth view yet. It's likely going to be named region 3790, but this region is a big flare player and it's also launching big solar storms. So expect that more chances for big R3 level radio blackouts as well as big Earth-directed solar storms are in our future. And now switching to our full sun map, we have SDO AIA imagery that's here on the front side of the sun. That's in red, and we're lucky enough to have solar orbiter on the sun's far side and EUI imagery that of the sun's far side, so we can actually see what might be lurking there. Now you can see region 3777, 3780. That should be getting you oriented. You'll also see region 3784 kind of emerging here. This is to kind of give you an idea of what's on the front side right now. But as we look to the sun's west limb and beyond the west limb to the sun's far side, there's some very interesting developments you might want to be paying attention to. First of all, take a look at right here in between region 3768 and 62. You're going to watch new region growth right here. That is going to be a very interesting configuration. It oftentimes is a big flare spawner and big solar storm spawners because this becomes very unstable when you get new regions emerging between two other ones. So we're going to be paying close attention to that. We also have some new activity here as well as here. Now, interestingly enough, as we continue moving this forward, you notice that this, sure enough, ends up being the region that is beginning to rotate into Earth view now. This is the one that fired that big M5.5 flare that's occulted. So this is why I say we're going to have some big solar flare activity rotating into view here over the next couple days. We're also going to very soon have big chances for more Earth-directed solar storms. So amateur radio operators, emergency responders, and aurora photographers, pay close attention to that east limb because new activity is surely around the corner. And now switching back to that solar storm that is on its way to Earth, we take a look at our solar storm prediction model, Enlil. Now this is NOAA's version of the model, the top panel's density, the bottom panel's velocity, and you're looking down at the sun from the North Pole with Earth being off to the right. Now as we set this model in motion, you're going to see that solar storm being launched here in just a moment. That solar storm is moving reasonably slowly, even though it's actually a direct hit for Earth. We're not expecting the impact to be extremely quick. In fact, NOAA is expecting the impact to be early on the 18th, and it's going to be a decent impact. But again, if it's not moving all that fast, it couldn't bump us up to really strong storm levels. So we're not expecting all that much from this. Of course, the storm could arrive a little bit earlier. If so, we could see aurora dip down to mid-latitudes, but likely we're not going to see all that much from this solar storm. In fact, as we take a look at our NASA's version of the model, and again, you're looking down at the sun from the North Pole with Earth being off to the right. If I set this solar storm model in motion, you're going to see that solar storm being launched. In NASA's version, it is actually a little bit faster than what you saw with NOAA's version. NASA actually has the storm hitting Earth about midday on the 17th. If that is the case, then this solar storm will pack a bit more of a punch. We could see storm levels, maybe G1 levels, and we could see a decent aurora down at mid-latitude. So it all depends upon how fast that solar storm is actually going to hit Earth. If it arrives on the early side, we could get more aurora. If it arrives on the late side, well, it may be just left to aurora photographers at high latitudes. And now switching to our moon, we are passing through the first quarter phase on our way to a full moon, with the full moon being on the 19th. So you night sky watchers, if you want to catch those dim objects in the sky, like, I don't know, maybe some aurora, you're going to have this bright companion. So you're going to need to check your local rise and set times. Now, switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating the hit from that Earth-directed solar storm, but we're not expecting all that much activity from it. In fact, we do even have a little bit of fast solar wind that's going to be preceding that. So at high latitudes, expect to be on a wind watch starting around the 16th, but by the 17th, we could be active to possibly minor storm conditions. In fact, we have about a 25% chance of a major storm starting around late on the 17th into the 18th. Now, at mid-latitudes, the story is a little bit quieter. We are still on a wind watch for the 16th, but not expecting to see all that much. Maybe if you're lucky, you could get a little brightening here and there. But by the 17th, we could see active conditions. In fact, we have about a 30% chance of a minor storm as we move from the 17th into the 18th. So aurora photographers, if you're dedicated, you should chase, but it could be fleeting shows for you. And then by the 19th, things should be settling back down again to quiet conditions. But remember, we have those new regions rotating into Earth view, and they look like they could send us some solar storms soon. And now switching to our solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week, we are sitting well in the 200s. We're sitting around 250, 260 this week for solar flux. This means radio propagation on Earth's dayside would be really good if it weren't for the big risk for radio blackouts this week. NOAA's giving us about a 75% chance of M-class flares at the R1 to R2 level radio blackout and about a 25% chance of X-class flares at the R3 level radio blackout. And I'm going to extend this throughout the entire 5-day because of that new set of regions that's going to be rotating into Earth view. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, I know you're hating life on the dayside radio bands right now. It's incredibly noisy out there, but just hang in there and expect that radio blackouts are going to be intermittently part of just what's on the menu this week and likely next week as well before things have a chance to settle down. And now switching to our radiation storm and polar aviation outlook over the coming week, we are in the green this week. We don't have any big radiation storms. We're sitting at the D1 normal range. This is at flight level 360 for you aviators. It's also the S0 quiet range for everyone else. However, we do have about a 15% chance of radiation storms right now, and this is because we've got a couple big flare players rotating to the sun's west limb. That will stay elevated for the next couple days, and then it will slowly taper off a little bit. We might get down to about, 10%, maybe. I doubt we'll get as low as 5%, but we'll see. Meanwhile, it does look like we're going to stay in the green when it comes to radiation storms. So all of you frequent flyers, and this does include aircrew, although you should check those ICAO advisories often for updated information. Right now, it looks like you're all in the clear. So the space weather this week is keeping us on our toes. We do have an Earth-directed solar storm that's on its way. It's not a super fast-moving storm, but it could get a little bit of a push from some fast solar wind that's going to kind of keep it down in that Earth-Sun line. So aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, starting late on the 16th, you might start looking at the skies for that maybe a bit of aurora from that fast solar wind, but then that storm should hit sometime maybe late on the 17th, hopefully earlier on the 17th, so you can get some decent aurora, and that could last through the 18th. Now, if you're at mid-latitudes, well, only if you're dedicated should you chase, because you could get a chance from some sporadic aurora, especially if that solar storm is faster than the models predict it will be. Now, amateur radio operators and emergency responders, we have some new big players rotating into Earth view. They've already been firing R2 level radio blackouts, and they're not even fully in view yet. So expect those big radio blackouts to continue to be on the menu. We could also get some big solar storms launching here soon. So the dayside radio bands are going to be a bit of a mess through this week and possibly through next week as well. Just hang in there. And now you GPS users, well, we do have that solar storm hitting Earth, which could impact your GPS reception on Earth's night side, especially anywhere near aurora. And of course, on the day side, especially near dawn and dusk, you could have some reception issues due to those big radio blackouts. So just stay vigilant. And when that storm hits, be sure to calibrate your magnetometers often. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
Right. Thanks, Timothy. Bit more audio there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knock off the monitor. Yes, excellent stuff. And we'll probably repeat that a few more times over the weekend. Namely, Sunday morning ATV broadcast for the WAA news. And again on Sunday night. Camera. Where's my camera? There I am. And I think this all sky camera is working. This is the current view up at the Leon Mao dark sky site. We have a HD camera now running up at the dark sky site, and you can see that it's pretty much overcast up there, and lots of water droplets on the camera, but you can just make out the moon shining through the cloud. But that's the view up at Heathcote at the moment at the ASV's dark sky site. All right, now I think that's about it for tonight. We'll just run up the spaceweather.com, what they have on the scheme of things. Bring up the sun. Okay. Spaceweather.com reports, at least, the solar wind is currently at 353.4 kilometres a second at a density of 10.18 protons per cubic centimetre. The current disk of the sun, which is on screen right now, has several sunspots on it, quite a few, as you can see, and of course, as Timothy was pointing out. There was an article that I was going to read out. I didn't actually find it, but I did see it while I was perusing through things at work today about a report saying that the number of sunspots is definitely record breaking at the moment, which is interesting. The current sunspot number is 164. Where the radio flux is currently at 227, measured at a wavelength of 10.7 centimetres. 227 solar flux units, and the sunspot number is 164. The aurora oval or ring over Antarctica currently looks like this. So there's not much chance of seeing any aurora at the moment, especially with the cloud around, but not even in Tasmania. There might be a very, very subtle hint low on the horizon, but it's only less than a 50% chance of being able to see any aurora at the moment. But with this solar activity that Tanya, oh my God, Tanya was referring to, this weekend still might have something in it, but I guess we still need a clear sky to be able to see it. All right. Apart from that, the planetary K index is currently 2, considered quiet. And the 24-hour max KP figure is going to be around 2.67, also considered quiet. These figures are likely to change, of course, once the front from the CME hits the Earth's ionosphere, magnetosphere. The article in before we get into that, hang on, let me just go back to the camera. I'll bring up that camera for a bit of a different angle on the view. Magnetic or geomagnetic storm watch G1, Wednesday's X1 class solar flare from sunspot AR 3784 hurled a faint CME directly toward Earth, again as Tanya was mentioning. Minor G1 class geomagnetic storms are possible when it arrives. A NOAA model predicts August 18. A NASA model leans towards August 17. So either way, this weekend is going to be an interesting one. Monitoring WWV might be of some value too. The report also continues with auroras should not be orange, but are they, is the article here. Orange? I don't think I've ever seen an orange, or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, the report here is, during this week's severe G4 class geomagnetic storm, a Tony Bendel of Pennsylvania saw something rare and a little mysterious. Orange auroras, he says. And yes, orange. He says, I had never seen this colour in auroras before. He says he took the picture before sunrise on August 12. And I'll just bring that up. I'm not sure whether you really see that colour. Oh yeah, camera picks it. The TV picks it up. You can see. Well, it's actually all right. There's an inserted square to highlight where it is. An orange aurora. Okay, fair enough. The author says, at first I thought something was wrong, so I checked the image numerous times. The colour orange is really there, he says. What's so mysterious about orange, though? Auroras get their colours from specific atoms and molecules in Earth's atmosphere. For instance, green is due to oxygen, while pink comes from nitrogen. And the problem is there's nothing in the air capable of making bright orange. Theoretically, nitrogen and oxygen, or N2, N2 plus and O2 plus, can produce emissions at orange wavelengths. However, these emissions are very weak compared to other competing colours produced by the same molecules. Auroras should not be orange. And there's another graphic here to bring up. The article continues on to say that the answer may be simple, though. During typical geomagnetic storms, red auroras and green auroras are well separated. Red on top, green on the bottom. However, when geomagnetic storms become intense, as happened on August 12, red and green auroras can mix in a zone 150 to 200 kilometers above the Earth. The overlap naturally produces a yellow-orange glow, so no mystery molecule is required. So it's just a blending of colours that's going on here. Interesting. Okay, that explains that. All right, as of August the 16th, 2024, there were potentially 2,349 potential hazardous asteroids, but none of these known asteroids are on a collision course with Earth, so nothing to worry about. I think that's it in a nutshell for our spaceweather.com. So on that note, we shall conclude the transmission for tonight. Thank you everybody for listening in and tuning. I was almost not here tonight, almost not here. In fact, I had composed an email, a bulk email to everybody just to say no broadcast tonight because of a very, very slow internet. But I'm glad to say that it is held in. If I had to use the linear tonight, it might have been a bit different. But at least it's held in and the internet has behaved itself and everything's been working quite well. So there it is. Don't forget astrophys.com, episode 198, Dr. Tessa Vanstrom. I think that'll be an interesting one to listen to. Thank you, Brendan. I think that's it. Just making sure. Oh, yes. This is the latest solar cycle. I'll just pop this up on the screen while I can. There it is. Oh, missed it. Okay. All right. So for those watching Visions, that's the two cycles, the radio flux together with the solar flare flux or solar flare indication. So they basically mirror each other pretty closely. And as you can see there, we still haven't quite reached solar maxima yet. Getting there. Probably another 6 to 10 months. We'll see the maxima finally reached and coming down. But there it is. That's where we are on the scheme of Solar Cycle 25 for those watching Visions on YouTube and on the Discord. And I have it from Graham, VK3GL, that he is watching on YouTube since the Discord for some reason wasn't working over there. Anyway, just a quick check of who's about and where. We have also Dallas on Discord. Thank you for watching Discord, Dallas and Mike, those two guys. The chat window currently has Kim. No worries. Thanks, Kim. Thank you very much, Lee. And just the usual blokes there. And Mohammed, VK3AEV, thank you for joining in. And I think that's about it on that one. And one final look at the email. No, that's about it. No more emails have come through. All right, fair enough. On that note, we shall move across to our transceiver and get ready to take stations wishing to check in tonight. Let's see, where's my pen? There it is. Oh, a bit tired. Okay. All right, let's see how we go. Let me see. Let's just make sure I've got my levels here right, because what I'd like to do is to be able to feed a little bit of audio 80 meters back over the digital streams so that people can hear on what's happening off 80 meters. So I think that's going to work. So this is VK3EKH listening on 3541 for any stations wishing to check in. Okay, there's a couple of stations that doubled there. VK3JR, get this microphone more on me here. VK3JR, VK3TJS, VK3XL, VK5 Whiskey Alpha, and I think the other station there was VK3 Kilo Hotel Tango, KHT, if I think that was correct. Any other stations wishing to check in? Oh, I think there was a station there, very, very weak. Just try again.
VK3 Tango Lima Fox, I think it was.
All right, Tango Lima Fox. All right, very, very weak. Okay, to the top of the list, Frank, VK3JR, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, VK3JR. Good evening, Chris. Good evening, everyone. Very interesting as usual, especially the way the solar cycle's going. A week ago we had a very high number of 336 on the index. Amazing, solar flux index. It's down a lot now, but still pretty high. Anyway. I don't have anything else. This is tonight, for those who are interested. Thanks for doing it, and back to you. VK3EKH, VK3JR.
Thanks, Frank. VK3JR, VK3EKH. Good signal tonight, and audio was sounding quite okay. No clipping. I think the last time you came up, your audio clipped a little bit, but perfect tonight. It's not a problem, and okay on Steve as well, Mr. SL. That's okay. Yeah, it is. Honestly, the next 6 months or so is still going to be quite exciting for solar flare activity. There's no doubt about that. Okay, thanks, Frank. Thanks for coming up. Jack, VK3TJS in Shepparton, VK3EKH.
Yeah, VK3EKH and the group. This is VK3TJS. Thanks a lot for the podcast. UK blood, and a lot of cracking around, but something's sitting somewhere, but and the maybe I have that on Sunday, I think it's Astronomical Society, it's going to have some display or something I heard somewhere, not sure if you know about it, but so it should be interesting. Again, thanks for the broadcast and getting into all that checked in. VK3KH, this is VK3KJS.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Jack. Not quite sure what it was that you were saying. Your signal just faded a little bit into the noise. What was it that I may or may not have heard about?
The Bendigo Astronomical Society or something, and I have a display at the Hempfest in
Oh.
Bendigo. Is that right or not? Do you know?
Yep, Roger. Yeah, no worries, Jack. Got that. Yes, they are. The Bendigo District Astronomical Society, I believe, will have a display, a sidewalk. It's American. Anyway, some sort of setup there for observing the sky, or some sort of display will be running. I also believe the Astronomical Society of Victoria will also have solar telescopes set up as well. So hopefully, well, even it's during the day, but hopefully the clouds will part enough to be able to take views of the sun. So yes, the ASV will be there, from what I understand, and I suspect that the Bendigo District Astronomical Society, which is now a section of the ASV, will also have a display. They'll probably work hand in hand with the ASV display. So yes, there is something happening up there as well. Mike, VK3XL, VK3EKH.
Yeah, good evening all, VK3EKH, VK3XL. Just a couple of things. I think what was happening with the audio dropout was that you were just every now and again getting enough RF into your ADSL line to cause a small dropout. A short dropout in the internet connection with your Discord feed, and I would see your name on the Discord attendees flash as if you're about to leave and then you came back, sort of thing. So there might have been just enough RF getting into it from every now and again. And secondly, thirdly, I suppose, thanks very much again for the broadcast. Very interesting as usual. And with Graham's comment regarding watching the video on Discord via his phone, I tried to do that after I saw that comment, and I also could not get the video to come up on my phone through Discord. So there must be something to do with the way the phones work or something. Okay, that's it from me. I'm off to Yarrawonga on Sunday for a few days, so I won't be going to the Hamvention thing in Bendigo, but hopefully the weather will be a bit nicer in Yarrawonga. VK3EKH in the group, VK3XL.
Yeah, hopefully it will be for you. VK3XL, VK3EKH. Very good. Thanks for the report on the Discord. Yeah, look, I must admit, I have had the sound working on the mobile phone. I have been able to, like when the ATV net on Tuesday nights is on, Richard VK3VRS feeds the output of the repeater over Discord, and I'm often making dinner around that time, and I'm usually in the kitchen, so I'll either be watching the repeater on Discord or the YouTube stream from Ian3QL, but generally the mobile phone, the app, if you call it that, for Discord does work, but just recently it's fiddly. I find Discord a little bit on the fiddly side, but I do like the way the chat room works, and I do like the fact that you can run HD video and the delay between what you hear on 80 meters and on Discord is less than a second. It's really quite amazing how that works. Anyways, I won't be heading up to Bendigo. I just don't have the the need to go up there for this weekend, so I'll be definitely staying home. Apart from the fact that it is a Sunday, and of course my little commitment to doing the WI broadcast on 160 metres on Sunday morning, and also the ATV at 10:30 is a little thing that I like to keep on going. So it gives me a legitimate reason to stay home. Anyway, all right. Thanks, Mike. It's great to hear you. Such a powerful signal. Dallas, now out to the other extremes. VK5 Whiskey Alpha, VK3 EKH.
That's almost the same, so good enough. And I got very much continuous on YouTube this week, where last week was well received. So thanks again. Good evening all. VK5WA.
Thanks, Dallas. VK5WA, VK3 EKH returning. Thank you very much, sir. And again, also thanks for trying to look at the Discord stream as well. So I'm trying to plug it, trying to get more and more people across to using Discord. If you're signing up for Discord for the first time, it should be fairly straightforward. And there's the usual run of the mill questions for security reasons that they ask, but the email address that you use as part of the registration for Discord, you've got to make sure that you remember what email address you use and what password you use, because I think the problem with Discord is that if you register with Discord and everything's kosher and works okay, but then you might walk away from Discord for 6 months, maybe a year, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, you think, I think I had an account with Discord once. So you go back, you try to log in to Discord, and if you can't remember what email address you used or what password, it becomes a little bit of a problem in trying to get back onto Discord. And if you re-register thinking that that's going to fix the problem, invariably it doesn't. Not without a whole lot of mucking around. And it's very, very frustrating. I know from somebody else that's trying to do exactly that, and trying to re-register, it's almost impossible to do. So I'm just saying that for if you haven't used Discord thus far, for the chat room that I have here, the ASV radio chat room, and the HD stream, if you register for the first time, it should be pretty straightforward to get on and log in. And of course, I can provide a link. There is a link that's generated. In fact, okay, I'm going to actually, I'm on the QRZ.com page, the EKH, VK3 EKH QRZ.com. I haven't updated that yet, but I will do that this weekend. I'll provide information on how to get to Discord, and the link. There's a link that once you register on Discord and you're accepted, if you click on this link, it should take you straight to the chat room and access to the HD stream, making things a little bit easier, maybe. Anyway, we'll see. But I'll try and do that on the QRZ.com page for the station, EKH. Now, I think it's Bill, VK3KHT, VK3EKH.
VK3 EKH, VK3
VK3KHT. Thanks, Clint, and good evening to everybody. Thoroughly enjoyable program as always, and I particularly liked the additional information on the discovery of water on Mars. That's an ongoing interest and something that people have wondered about for so long. There'll be amazing things come out of that, I think. My been off to here. Yes, I sent a photograph of it through to a friend in West Australia. Husband is a geologist, and taken off the screen that same photo. And these people had been talking about it about a week ago. They'd only just found out. So yes, it's great interest. My antennas have been down for a couple of months now, so this is the first time that's working, and I managed to fix up a couple of local interference problems too. Okay, I'll go clear at this stage, and thanks again for the program. VK3KHT, passing it back to VK3EKH. Good night all.
Thanks, Bill. Good on you. VK3KHT. Good to hear you. VK3EKH returning. You're 10 to 15 over 9. 10 to 15 over 9 here. And I think the audio is being patched through to the repeater and Discord and also YouTube. So once I stop streaming, if you anybody for that matter, if you want to check your audio, how you're being received here at least, you can fast forward the whole hour, skip all the ordinary stuff, and go straight to the callback, and you'll be able to hear signal what it sounds like here. It's just a little service that I provide. Anyway, no worries, Bill. Good to hear, mate, and thanks very much for the comments there. Excellent stuff. Now, I think it's Peter, VK3TLF. So you're very, very weak tonight, but let's see if you've found the right antenna switch for 80 metres. And you're probably watching the repeater too. VK3TLF, VK3EKH.
I'm hearing you, Peter, VK3XL, but it looks like Clint's not.
Oh, you're just there, Peter. I can hear you, but you're just there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my power's not really running this week. It's not really good for this thing. I was just going to say, are you actually doing the transmission
I think he's asking, am I transmitting through the repeater? Was that correct, Mike?
No, he was more asking about how the Discord feed works, whether that's coming from the repeater or you sending it direct, and as far as I know, it's direct.
Yeah, it's direct, Pete. I'm running Discord together with vMix on the computer, so I've downloaded Discord, and so it's running direct from the system here, and so it's two separate feeds. With vMix, because I run vMix, I use the external function where you activate stream for the stream for YouTube. Right next to that is an external feature or function, and when you click on external, that allows the video from what's on vMix to patch through straight through to Discord, and bingo, it just works. so it enables me to stream both to YouTube and to Discord. It seems to work well, courtesy of Richard. Richard's helped us a little bit with that. So if there's any questions, certainly talk to Richard, VK3VRS. He'll certainly fix any issues there. But no, it's direct. not off the repeater or anything like that. Yeah, all right. I think that's about it there. Is there any other stations wishing to check in? VK3 EKH?
I've got a follow-up VK3XL.
Yep, grow a hedge.
With the Discord on the phone business, if you go in via just a website and do it as on the net, you can't get the video. But if you go in via the app on your phone, you can get the video. So that may be where things have gone wrong.
Aha! Okay. Well, I've got the app on the phone. Generally, that's what I use. So yeah, I don't think I've had any problems. So maybe that's the clue. Maybe that's the clue there is to use the app, Discord app for the mobile phone, which makes sense. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So, all right. Thanks, Mike, for that follow up. It's worked out very well. All right. Any other stations wishing to check in? Okay, noise was the response. Okay, thanks everybody for joining in tonight, and it's been okay. This hour's come and gone pretty quickly, an hour and a half already. So have a nice weekend, everyone. Take care. For those going up to the Bendigo Radio, they're calling it something else, Radio Fest or Ham Fest. Have a good trip. I know Richard VK3 VRS is on taking an aircraft flight with Peter, VK3 BFG, so you guys enjoy the flight up. Hopefully there won't be too much turbulence, and for everybody else that's going up there in the 2-hour drive, have a good time, 2.5 most likely, and look after yourselves, and may you find some interesting things to come home with, which would be nice. This is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with the regular Friday night broadcast, concluding for tonight on the 16th of August, and we'll be back next Friday to do it all again. So cheers everyone, have a nice weekend, take care. This is VK3 EKH now closing down. Cheers everyone. All right. So to our people watching Visions, thank you for watching, and up there on the TV repeater as well. Oops, every now and then it keeps dropping out, but that's a problem with RTV1, so it's not an issue at my end. We'll be back Sunday morning to do the WI broadcast on 1825 kilohertz AM, and then that's at 9 o'clock. And then at 10:30 via the Melbourne TV repeater, and then 8:30, and then 8 o'clock on Sunday night as a repeat. So on that, we shall close down the video side of it. Sam, my work colleague, if you've been watching Sam, let us know. It'd be interesting to see what you think of the bilge that goes on. All right. I'll just switch to our All Sky Cam. That's the All Sky camera up at Heathcote. So you can see a little bit of sky there. Clouds are parting slightly. A chance to see some stars briefly. In the meantime, Southern Astronomer is the new magazine to look out for. All very interesting stuff that is. And I don't think there's anything else here to show and tell. So stand by for some colour bars, and then off we go. So on that note, cheers everyone, and have a nice weekend. Cheers for now.